Hello. I'm here to give you some pretty useful information for when you first start out or maybe a little bit down the road after. My name's Solaski and I hope this really helps you. So first of all, I'm going to cover Primo Gems. Now, Primo Gems are very important because it's what you use to pull. It's basically your pull currency. Now, you also get some pulls from doing the battle pass, playing through quests or missions or etc, etc. But the important part is know what you want to pull for, know how much you're going to pull, and know exactly when to stop pulling. So first of all, I just want to say that in this game, if you want to get a guaranteed 5-star, you're going to need 90 pulls, or around a little bit under 15,000 Primo Gems, 14,400 to be exact. But on a character-specific banner, if you want to guarantee yourself that character from that character event banner, you should save up enough for 2 of those. Because after you hit pity the first time, and it isn't the aforementioned character from the character event banner, the next time you hit pity, it's guaranteed to be the character that you want. Therefore, it is recommended that you save up 14,400 for a guaranteed 5-star or 28,800 Primo Gems, or anything that adds up to that amount, including the singles and stuff that you get naturally, to guarantee yourself what you want in this game. Now, currently we have Klee, but soon we will get Zhao, then Zhongli, then Child. We don't know what order after Klee, but those are some character banners to look into, and they will be coming soon. I'll make a separate video about what's coming next in Genshin Impact, and there are some couple things that I can link you down below in the description that shows you some minor spoilers, but just kind of like the story of where it's heading and characters that are going to be introduced down the road. Now that we got the gacha aspect out of the way, let's get more into the gameplay. The first tip that I want to tell you is to pick up everything. Everything you see, if it's on the ground, mash square on the PS4 or F on your keyboard. It's going to be really important down the line, and it's going to save you so much time. Next big important thing is you need to use your resin on ley lines or on bosses as soon as you possibly unlock them. XP is going to be really hard to come by later on. Some of it's going to be reduced to chests while you don't have any resin, or quests when they release and new events and stuff like that, but it is important you start doing that right away. I wasted a lot of resin when I first started because I was just so enveloped into the game and treasure hunting and everything that I forgot to use my resin a lot of the times, but eventually I had no choice but to use it. So just start using it early. It helps you with a lot of things, and as long as you use it every day and then do all your commissions and also do your story quests when you want to and do treasure hunting, whatever you want to do, then you're good. Now in this game, there are 2 collectibles on 2 different parts of the map. On Mondstadt, there are Animoculus, and on Leeway, there are Geoculus. Now I'm going to link you to a very informative and useful website. This website is known as the Genshin Impact Interactive Map. I'll link you down below, and here you can see, you can click on things to filter, and it'll show you on the map Animoculus and Geoculus, as well as other things. You can really use this for anything, including enemies, plants, and other living creatures and minerals. It is very important that when you're starting out to really enjoy the game as much as you want, but when you start to even get remotely serious with the game in terms of wanting to find all the collectibles, it is encouraged that you mark on your map as soon as you find an Animoculus or Geoculus where you just got it, so you can cross-reference it with the interactive map, so then you could go into the interactive map and cross out the ones you've already found because you marked them on your map when you picked them up. Very important, that way you don't have to spend extra hours just hunting down places that could have been where you already did. Now, another very important tip for you is that you need to plan your team. You need to know who you're going to build as your main DPS, who you're going to build as your main healer, and who you're going to build for a secondary team or your support DPS, or both. Now, in the Spiral Abyss, once you start getting into that, you're going to need 2 teams eventually. So it is important you don't spread yourself too thin so that you can have 2 really strong carry units, as well as supportive characters that don't need to be maxed out, and if they are, then just like maybe 1 or 2. I beat all of Spiral Abyss up to 9, completely tabbed out, with essentially just 6 max characters and 2 support characters that had really low levels. As long as you're matching element with element on what you need to do, as encountering the element you're about to face, then you're good to go. Now that we're on the topic of the Spiral Abyss, let me give you a quick peek of what you need to do. So in the Spiral Abyss, there is going to be 8 floors here and then a further 3 more that reset Only 9 through 12 reset, by the way. So all these primos that you get from all of this is gone after the first time you clear it. Now, the important tip that I'm here to tell you is before you start doing Spiral Abyss, that is if you don't want to do it blind and just kind of go at it how you want it and then just explore it how you want to do it, go ahead, you can do that way too. But you can check each chamber individually what you need to fight so you can plan ahead of time who you need to bring and what you need to bring elemental wise. Like I said, after floor 4, starting on floor 5, you will need 2 teams. First half, second half. So here, for example, cryo, electro, pyro. So on the first team, you'd want at least a fire unit, and on the second team, you'd want at least a water or electro unit. Water would be much better against a fire mage than an electro, but electro kind of works if you don't have a water unit, but you should have Barber now. But if it's past 1.1, then understandable if you don't have a water unit. Don't worry, by the way, about 9 through 12 resetting. You won't get into that until way later. So just do what you can. If you decide to do Spiral Abyss, it'll get you some nice primos and some artifacts here and there, and it'll be some fun. You'll get to experience some of the in-game content a little bit early, and it'll be fun for you. Now, this one is kind of important overall. So when you go to party setup, you can click up here on the top right on elemental resonance. And basically what this is just to go over it super quickly is you can match 2 elements on your 4-man team. And if those 2 elements are matched, you get a specific bonus, such as Impetuous Winds with 2 Anemos, decreases the stamina consumption by 15%, increases movement speed by 10%, and it shortens the skill cooldown by 5%, which is really cool. Now, different ones do different things, so get into it and look at it. Another important thing will be cooking. Now, cooking is introduced very early on, but it is important you have at least some food always to heal, just in case, as well as plenty of restorative revival items, because you never know when you might need them. They're very handy. Now, restorative revival items are usually eggs, so whenever you see eggs on trees and stuff, make sure to grab them because those are for Phoenix Downs, essentially, revive items and stuff like that. Remember when I said earlier to pick up everything? I mean everything, including all the chests you see because it gives you XP, loot, and all kinds of stuff you need later on, but there's just going to be so much of it everywhere, it might be overwhelming. Just do it how much you can, and don't try to push yourself too hard, just do what you can. Now, another big important thing is you'll start off the game and it'll tell you to click on a teleporter, which is this one. You'll press F and you'll activate it. It is very important that you activate every single teleporter you possibly can, as well as every domain or like temple area if it's not blocked off by a red see-through gate. As long as you open the doors, even if you can't actually do it yet, as long as you can open the doors, you can teleport to that place after, like this one, or this one. You can see how useful that'll be with the interactive map and when you have to go from place to place, depending on quest locations and stuff like that. Just wanted to say one last time that is very important to use your resin. Right now I have 23. I will use mine right after I make this video, just on a ley line for experience books. But it is crucial you do level up your adventure rank and proceed with what you need to do. So even if you're in the middle of a story quest, as soon as you're on your next break, and if you check your map and you have 120 stamina, make it so that it's always underneath 120, so it's always regenerating. It's really slow. It's every 8 minutes. As you can tell, I'm at 23, and for me to get it fully refreshed, it would be almost 13 hours still. Now for artifacts, it gets a little tricky. You won't want to start farming artifacts from domains ideally until about AR level 45, when 5-star artifacts are guaranteed from every domain run and drop from bosses, although not every time. And you'll have so many purples, they will drop like hotcakes everywhere. To get you by until then, and for as often as possible, you're going to want to know a couple of these things. First of all, flowers are always going to be base HP, main stat. Feathers, flat attack, and the other 3 are flexible. Now, goblets can exclusively drop elemental damage bonus, like electro and emo and physical, where headpieces can also drop something like crit rate or crit damage, along with the other usual things. Now, I don't want you to get super nitpicky with your artifacts just yet, as long as they have attack percent on the main stat for timepieces, cups, and headpieces. Later on, you'll be able to develop a more refined taste for what you want, but don't worry about that until much, much later. But a super quick rundown is you ideally want attack percent, crit rate, crit damage, flat attack, elemental mastery, energy recharge, and for Noelle defense, Barbara HP. And a quick weapons bit. For the craftable 4-star weapons, I'm going to do a quick rundown and tell you which of these are worthy to craft. So for swords, we have the prototype Rancor, one of the best swords in the game, honestly. You cannot go wrong crafting it. I wouldn't recommend the Iron Sting, don't do it. Prototype Crescent is pretty bad, don't do it. Compound Bow is really, really strong. Definitely worth your craft if you plan to use official. Prototype Amunis is really strong, really good. You can craft this and you won't regret it at all. And then White Blind, if you have Noelle and you plan on using her, she's a monster. And with White Blind, she gets insane. You can run Prototype Malice for Barber, but I'll show you an even better catalyst that you can get for free, and it's much cheaper to build and pretty nutty. The Map of Mare, though, however, is really good, and it's worth your time if you plan on using someone like Mona or Sucrose and you don't have really many books to choose from. Now, the Prototype Grudge is... don't build it, but the Crescent Pike, however, is insane. Definitely recommend it. Now for Barbara, as you can see here, I'm actually using a max refined Thrilling Tales of Dragon Slayers, which is a 3-star weapon, has base attack, and then has the secondary stat of HP percentage, which is what you want with Barbara, just like on the craftable 4-star weapon. Except with this one, it has a really nice effect. Legacy. When switching characters, the new character taking the field has their attack increased by 48% for 10 seconds. This is at refinement rank 5. This effect can only occur once every 20 seconds. So usually when you're using her, you heal by pressing E or pressing R2, PS4, and then switch to your character that's usually the main DPS who's a little hurt from being outside and taking damage in Abyss, but 48% for 10 seconds is nuts. So you can find this out in the world, you can find this doing in chests, so look for it. Now this is an infographic made by Sunmulk on Twitter and on Twitch, and it's a basic guide on telling you what happens when you combine certain elements, and that is known as an elemental reaction. My favorite one is Overload, followed closely by Superconduct, but they're both amazing. Just to go over one really fast, it's when you hit fire with Electro or Electro with fire, and Overload creates an explosion that deals Pyro AoE damage and it breaks Geo Shields. I'm going to be leaving this link in the description. Check it out more. Elemental reactions are crucial for dealing massive damage in this game, so study up on them, test them out yourself so you can really learn them and put them in your brain. That way it's easier for you to hold the information than to just try to study a picture, but it wouldn't hurt to try both. So just to recap, be smart with your Primo Gems. Try to save them as much as possible if you're a free-to-play player. If you plan on being a light spender, try to only buy these 2 things. The Battle Pass, not with the 10 levels, just the Battle Pass by itself, and the $5 Welcome of the Moon thing, which will give you 2,700 Primo Gems for only $5, or depending on where you are, it may change. But if you are going to spend, just do those 2 things. The other things are not going to be worth in the long term, and it can make you want to buy more. And it's all on you. If you want to, go ahead. Be careful. Always use your resin. Pick up everything, including chests. Plan your team because your resources get very limited. Start marking your Geoculus and your Animoculus as soon as you capture them, so you can cross-reference them and take them out later on the interactive map, and saving you a bunch of hours of time. Stack elements when needed on a team, especially double Anemo for when you're exploring the world, because the reduced stamina consumption is very crucial, as well as the movement speed. Cook as much as possible in terms of revival items and restorative items, and cook what you can for achievements and to get some primos along with that. And finally, for Abyss, have fun with it, but remember that you can always check where you're going to fight next by clicking on the chamber specifically. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'm on Twitch, live streaming pretty often, basically every day. Soon I will try to stream on YouTube just to check it out. Thank you for all the support. See you in the next one.